Voor ons begin wil ek jou vinnig herinner aan al die potgooi-reekse wat ek by betrokke is. Daar's natuurlik klipkouers wat fokus op Afrikaanse entrepreneurs en impakmakers, boerpot wat fokus op die besigheid van landbou, Nostalgooi, my nuutste reeks waar ek gesels met legendes van die Afrikaanse vermaaklikheidsindustrie, mense soos David Kramer, Anton Goosen, Sandra Prinsloo ensovoorts. En dan my 2 nuwe potgooi-reekse, Buscrash wat die Engelse boetie is van klipkouers, en dan Pot of Gold wat gefokus is op die besigheid van mynbou. As jy in Pretoria is, kom maak gerus 'n draai hierop by ons plek in die R21 Corporate Park, genaamd Bouma at 21, waar ons 'n café het, ons het coworking space, ons hierdie raadsaal uit en my atelier is hier. So, as jy is, kom drink gerus 'n koffie en kom sê hallo.
Hierdie is 'n potgooi produksie deur nommer 7 Media. Hierdie is potgooi episode 8 van 8 episodes van Agri SA se 2019 Kongres. Aan die woord is Barret wat die strategiese hoof van Geïntegreerde Oplossings van John Deere Intelligent Solutions Group, FSA, is. Hy fokus op die revolusie van presisie-landbou deur kunsmatige intelligensie. Lekker luister.
The gentleman's name is Barret Barr. He is the strategic head of integrated solutions for John Deere Intelligent Solutions Group in the, I almost said the VSA, the USA. He's all the way from Iowa, is it? He's all the way from Iowa in the States just to come and speak to us. He's also he's a very well-renowned technologist, looking at the long-term vision of the embedded technology group of John Deere, and he's going to talk to us about some of the Deere tech innovations and what they are doing. He also has a master's degree in economics and an MBA from Kellogg School of Management. Let's clap hands for Barret.
Great, thank you for the introduction, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with this distinguished group. I also appreciated all the talks from this morning. I personally learned a lot as an outsider about the struggles that South African farmers are facing, but I was encouraged by the hope that people had in the future, that we would come out of it better than we are today. I'd like to talk today about John Deere's vision of precision agriculture and how we plan to use technology and artificial intelligence to really revolutionize agriculture again with the fourth industrial revolution, but creating a more profitable and sustainable environment for farmers in South Africa and farmers worldwide. And John Deere is known as an innovative and quality-focused company since we were founded almost 200 years ago, when our founder invented a really innovative new way to plow ground in central U.S., to 100 years ago when we launched our first tractor, to 25 years ago or so when we began in precision agriculture. So for this talk, I'm going to talk briefly about John Deere's presence in Africa and the history we have here and our commitment to the continent. We'll talk about the precision ag strategy. I'll go through what we see as our vision for over the next 10 years or so. We'll talk about the positive impact it's going to have for customers in South Africa and around the world. And we'll talk a little bit about some future technologies that we plan to roll out and some that we're just rolling out right now. So looking at John Deere's history in Africa, we are committed to the continent. We had our first product here nearly 140 years ago, so a significant history here. We know the customers well, and we've invested heavily in both products for Africa, but also our dealer channel for Africa, which we see as one of our biggest competitive advantages. We have dealers in 50 countries, and we have about 175 different touch points between dealers and customers around the continent. We've also launched, and we're committed to launching, innovative technologies in Africa. And in fact, when we launch a new product, typically first in the U.S., South Africa is one of the first places it gets launched after the U.S. So we are committed to bringing our latest technology to Africa. And some of the latest technologies we've rolled out recently, our telematics product, JD Link, we launched in 2015. Our online platform, which you can do data analysis it was launched in 2017, called the Operations Center. And our highly automated combine, we launched in 2018. And probably a lot of you saw that on tour around South Africa last year. We're also excited to take the continent to the next level in precision agriculture. I just spoke with a customer on a tour on Tuesday, met with the dealer, Senvas, a really innovative dealer. And it was amazing to me to see the ideas that the dealer and the customer both had in the ability to leverage our data for new and innovative solutions on their operations. So I was really encouraged, and I'm looking forward to taking the next steps in South Africa. I'm supporting our customers. So just looking at what sets us apart from other companies in worldwide, we are the precision ag leader. And that's from a combination of great machines. We think we have the best machines in the world. And when you combine that with industry-leading innovation in our precision ag technology, that creates solutions that we're able to do more. We're able to produce more crops, produce more grain with less inputs. So today, in the difficult economic times, both here in South Africa and worldwide, farmers are really struggling in the U.S. as well with poor crop prices. But bringing together the leading technology and equipment, we're able to produce more with less. So that's a really important combination. And pairing that with the dealer channel that I talked about here in Africa, providing sales and service to our customers and helping to sell and explain the technology that we're rolling out, the combination of those three together sets us apart from our competition. Looking at our precision ag strategy, we want to focus on our higher purpose. And this is really what drives or motivates John Deere employees worldwide. And that's to make lives better for people around the world, whether that's better food, better diets, more stable food supply, better cost food, but also shelter. John Deere has a construction company as well, so we're help building houses, and clothing. So providing these things, giving other people around the world a better way to live. And we do that by serving those linked to the land. So that's you guys, the farmers around the world. So providing better technology so that we can help start the next green revolution in Africa, helping Africa to become more food self-sustaining. But it's also important because the world is changing. As we heard from our last speaker, the population right now is 7.5, 7.7 billion people, and it's growing rapidly. Over the next 30 years, 2050, it's going to hit about 10 billion people. So we need to do more with less, so produce more on the same amount of land. There's not additional land coming online, so we need to be able to be more productive with what we have. And we want to do that by really creating an automated system where we can place the right product, whether that's the seed, the chemical, fertilizer, in the right location at the right time. So precisely where we want it to give each seed the best chance of success throughout the season. And we want to do this helping growers to become more profitable and more sustainable, helping to get through these difficult economic times. And we're relying on new technologies that have just been released over the last few years. You've heard the term machine learning or deep learning. We're leveraging these sorts of technologies in our machines to make growers more productive. So looking at the evolution that we're going through right now, we have a long 180-year history as a company. We focused on making machines bigger, faster, and stronger for most of that history, trying to make farmers more productive. We're still focused on that, but we're starting to make the transition more from the hardware side to hardware, but also supplemented or complemented with software. So changing from the bigger, faster, stronger focus to automated, easier to use, and more precise. And we think this can help growers to become more profitable and get through some of these difficult times. But when I talk about automation, I want to make a distinction between automation and autonomy. When we talk about autonomy, that's getting people out of the machines. That's reducing the need for labor. When I'm talking about automation, I'm talking about making the person in the machine more productive or being able to do the same amount of work or do the same quality of job with maybe a worker that's not quite as experienced or skilled as other workers. I know in the U.S. where we have a shortage of skilled labor right now, so as we roll out more complex machines with more capabilities, it's really important to have automation on the machines so that the machines are easier to use as we try to recruit the maybe less skilled workers to the farms. So this is a transition that's happening at Deere, and it's really the last 5 years where we've really transitioned the focus from hardware to a hardware and software mix. So getting into a little bit more detail on that, going from the field level, so this is where we focused as an ag industry forever. You basically treat the entire field the same crop, the same treatment throughout the whole field. And we're pushing the boundaries down to zone level. So we've introduced section control about 15 years ago. And the farmer I talked to on Tuesday actually gave some good examples of how he was using section control on his farm, where he had pretty sandy soil with some areas with really heavy clay in the soil. So he wanted to run his tillage implement, the ripper, really deep in those heavy clay areas because it had higher compaction. But then in other areas of the field that weren't quite as dense, he wanted to lift the ripper up a little bit to save fuel. So we wanted to increase productivity in some areas and save fuel in other areas. So the initiative to push ideas like this that we can support is where we're trying to get, and Deere can help along the way. So in addition to the zone level, we have row level with section control and variable rate seeders. But the really place we're trying to get is that bottom level, going from the row to the individual plant level, trying to manage the farm, giving every plant exactly what it needs. So it was difficult going from field to zone to row level, but the transition from row level to managing at the individual plant level is extremely challenging. When you think about scale, the average cornfield has about 8 million plants per acre, or 16 or 20 million per hectare. So when you think about, per field, not per hectare. But when you think about a wheat field, it's about up to 100 million plants per hectare. So when you think about individual decisions on each of those 100 million plants on a field, it's incredible. So we're pushing the boundaries on new technology that will enable us to manage at the individual plant level to help us give every plant exactly what it needs. So getting into a little bit more detail on the way we view agriculture, we break up the production process into 4 steps, as probably a lot of you do too. Field preparation or tillage, planting and seeding, application, so applying herbicide, pesticide, fertilizer, and harvest. And what we're trying to do is collect as much data as we can on each one of these steps so that we can get smarter as a company and allow you to become smarter as a farmer. So we have the goal of, we want to have the best machines in the field. We want to have machines that as we collect more data, the machines actually get smarter over time. So that means if you buy a combine, one of our new automated combines in 2020, the machine should actually perform better 5 years from then as it did when you bought it. As we get more data coming in, as we improve the algorithms, and that's especially important in areas like South Africa, where probably the machines were designed in our core market like the US or Europe. But as we get more data from South Africa with the specific soils, the specific weather conditions, we can hone in the algorithms to customers that are here in South Africa so that the machines can perform better. We also think that our machines can work better together, and that's part of the approach that we're taking to leverage data to make our machines better. So we want to execute each individual job the best we can within each step. So the tillage step, I mentioned, talked to the farmer that was doing tillage and wanted to measure or manage by section of the field. Based on the decisions he's making from a tillage perspective, what impact might that have on the impact on the decisions that you make for planting? So if you can give your prescription on tillage to your agronomist, they can help you make an informed decision on what settings you want to change on your planter, whether it's downforce margin, whether it's closing wheel pressure, or seed density. And that seed density or other settings might impact how you approach from a spraying perspective. You might spray more chemical in an area with higher seed density, which also might impact what you do in harvest. So this process or flow of data from one step to the next, today it's mostly personal through an agronomist or a trusted partner, but tomorrow, with all the data that we're collecting, we can use algorithms to automate that process of recommending. Or John Deere can automate it, or one of our connected partners that I'll talk about later can help to automate that process between steps, leveraging data from your own farms in order to optimize your job and make you more profitable for your operation. So moving forward in this, as we begin to add more and more sensors to machines, we collect more data, get more AI, this is where we can start to push the boundaries to manage at the individual plant level, giving every plant exactly what it needs. Also, with that data coming off, we can give better farm management level decisions. So helping you understand, should you plant today based on the weather the last 7 days, based on the rain forecast for tomorrow? Should you plant today? Should you plant Saturday? Or what's your window for optimal planting to give you the best chance of success throughout the year? So using data for larger farm management decisions, and also we're really working hard to, wherever the farm manager is, whether he's in the cab, whether he's in his pickup truck or at home in his home office, giving the right information at the right resolution at the right time so that they can make the best decisions. As our machines become more complex and producing more data, giving the exact right information to the grower at the right time is really critical. So stepping back, this is how we envision our ecosystem at John Deere and how the data flows between the machines that are sensing data in real time, from the environmental conditions to the decisions that the farmer is making in the field. The data goes up to the cloud, where it's stored in the cloud is our operations center. It can be shipped based on the customer's decision, to our connected partners. And Corteva earlier today was talking about some of the partnerships they have, and they're one of our connected partners that we partner with here and around the world. But also, the customer can interact with the data in the operations center. So they can use the tools to understand and analyze the output from their fields and understand the impact the decisions they made had on their operation. So this is a really powerful tool, and I think having one company doing all of this together really simplifies the process and allows a seamless experience for the grower, but also being able to connect to the 16 partners that we have outside of Deere. So looking at the operations center, and this is that cloud image I had on the last slide, where we can help the grower is, first, help them set up and plan the job that they're trying to do. So plan what crop they want to plant in the field, the rate they're planting with help from their agronomist, and the auto track path through the field where the tractor will automatically steer, and wirelessly send this down to the machine to monitor, and so that the grower can monitor and control the operation from the operations center, so they can see what's happening in the field in real time. And then after you see the result of what happened, analyze and decide. So understand and do the data analysis to make your decision even better next year. So we think this is a really powerful tool that we launched back in 2017 here in South Africa. And I think later this year we're launching in 10 additional countries in Africa. So we're a really good way to manage your data, and also a good way to share it with the connected partners that you have. So we get asked a lot of times what happens with our data when it goes up to the cloud. So wanted to mention that the customer is always in control. They can decide to secure it down and not share it with anybody, or they can share it with currently we have 16 connected partners in South Africa that can help you manage your operation. And we just had a developer conference a couple weeks ago with a number of additional partners that wanted to come and join our system. So we're probably going to add quite a few additional partners in the next year or so. But this really opens up our system to not just Deere looking at the data, but who else can help you manage your operation. Because really farmers are not farming by themselves. They rely on a network of people to help them with their operation. And finally, compatibility. John Deere leads efforts to make machines compatible with each other. And as much as we'd like each farmer in here to have only green equipment, we know that's probably not the case for everybody in here. So having good connections between machines and allowing farmers to upload their data into the operations center, no matter what color machine you have, is also a powerful tool that allows for compatibility between machines. So that was the strategy section. Now I'm going to tell you about a few of the new products that we have and we're launching soon here in South Africa. The first one is John Deere Telelink, and this is a telematic software that allows more entry-level precision ag operations. So most of what I talked about earlier in the presentation was the cutting edge, the large ag machines, but this is intended for as an entry-level product to get into the telematics area. So you can see the data coming off your machine, you can understand if there are issues with your machine, and communicate with your dealer so that you get the proper support to keep you up and running. Also getting alerts in real time, and you can log in from your cell phone to understand what's happening on your machine in real time. So a really nice tool that's available for order now and in the market next year. This next one I'll talk about is Combine Advisor. It's our highly automated combine. And this is cutting edge technology that's been launched in 2018. It's been very popular in the US. And this is where for harvesting, typically, at least where I'm from, the most experienced operator is in the cab driving the machine. Because when driving a machine like this, there's 5 major settings that have to be adjusted all the time in order to keep up with changing conditions in the field. So as the humidity changes during the day, as the crop changes from sunrise to sunset, You have to continually adjust the dials on these settings. But with this automated system, we have monitors that look at grain quality as it's coming through the machine all the time, look at losses out the back of the machine, so we can really understand, the machine understands what's happening, and when the operator gets the settings the way they want it, they're comfortable with the grain quality and losses, they can hit maintain, and the rest of the day the machine will maintain that level of quality. So once the skilled operator gets it set, he could get a less skilled operator in the cab and run the machine the rest of the day without having to worry about the settings. So bringing a lot of productivity to a grower, and we generate about $15 per hectare of additional value, for 225 Rand per hectare of additional value for growers with this automated system. And we are launching another program, I think it's launching here soon, called Connected Harvest, where you can actually, the operator can, if they see one of their combines where the settings are the way they want it, they can copy and paste onto another combine from an iPad to get it onto the other machine. So with the combine with a less skilled operator, you could just take the settings from one machine of the skilled operator, put it onto the other machine just wirelessly. So a really, really neat system, adding new innovation. So this next one is one more looking at the future. And this is, we think, one of the really cutting edge technologies that's really going to change agriculture over the next 5 years or so. And this is See and Spray. It's a technology that the machine goes through the field, and this is not what it's going to look like when we release it. This is the prototype. But a machine that goes through the field, it takes a picture of every plant with a high-resolution camera, and with deep learning algorithms, which is basically like facial recognition for plants, it identifies what type of plant it is, whether it's a crop that you want in the field or it's a weed. And if it's a weed, it sprays it with the chemical. If it's a crop, it leaves it alone. So it allows you to save up to 80% in your chemical savings each year. So significant savings, and it also reduces weed resistance during the year. So this is something it's on the verge of being released. I'm not going to say a date, but sometime pretty soon. But this is something that can revolutionize really your operation. And when you think about even further down in the future, instead of just differentiating between weeds and crops, it can look at a crop and understand the health of that crop and maybe give it fertilizer if it needs it. And if not, it doesn't. So understanding the exact needs of every plant and giving it what it needs and not more than what it needs. So this can really help with both the profitability of farmers, but also the sustainability of growers. And this is what we're really focused on at John Deere, is helping our customers become the most profitable, sustainable growers in the world. We want to do this by giving farmers the best plans in the field with data and with artificial intelligence, the most dependable, reliable, precise machines that are automating and changing in real time based on in-field conditions, and allowing you to manage from anywhere you want with the confidence that you know what's happening in the field. So thank you for your attention, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Kongres, some questions for Barret?
Thank you very much. Barret, very interesting, and I think the future of agriculture is really promising if you look at all the automation. The question, however, is our equipment, our tractors and our combines are becoming just platforms for this technology. How do you as Deere see the development of the technology and the speed of development of technology, and how much energy and time and money does Deere put into especially this development? The next question is the integration is very important. We've got various platforms, and it's not only equipment manufacturers, but it's weather information and a lot of other information that we need to get together and make sensible calculations or predictions from that. How do you work on that as a specific equipment manufacturer and on your platform as well?
So I would say I completely agree with your point about how fast it's changing. So when you think back 20 or 30 years ago, we might come out with a new equipment model every 5 or 6 or 7 years, but between that, they really didn't change much. But when you think about today, we're releasing new software on our machines 3 times per year. So the machine gets better. We actually add new features to the machine. One of the ones we added most recently was auto-track turn automation, which before we had auto-track, the machine could go straight down the field, but at the end you had to turn it around by yourself. We wirelessly sent this out to people's machines where one day they had to turn around manually, the next day the machine turned itself around. So this type of technology we're adding literally 3 times a year to our machines. So I think that pace of advance is really changing very rapidly, and I think it's even going to grow more rapidly over the next 10 years or so. And I would say on the most cutting-edge farms, if you look at a farm 10 years from now, you probably wouldn't even recognize it from a farm today. That's how fast we think it'll change. And your question on, I think it was around external sources of data and how we bring that together. That's something we're looking at very closely, and we're partnering with, I mentioned those 16 connected partners we have in South Africa. We are working with companies like Corteva to bring in some of their analysis because, like Rajan, I think, said, we're not good at everything, they're not good at everything, so let's get together and collaborate and come up with a solution together. So we're pulling in weather data from certain places. I think we use AccuWeather for our weather data, at least in the U.S. And we have satellite imagery from certain companies where we can look and analyze crop density by area and send those prescriptions down to our combines to adjust settings based on aerial imagery. So bringing that information together, and we plan to store it, or we do store it in the operations center, so our customers have access to that information alongside their own data. And all the data that we have, we geospatially index. So down to the receivers that we have on top of our machines are accurate to about 2 or 3 centimeters. So we geospatially index our data to about that accuracy level. So as we pull in data from other sources, whether it's weather or satellite imagery, we can put those 2 images together, or the data together, so they're on top of each other, so you can correspond your yield or your settings to the data that you pulled in from another source.
Thank you. What is the plan with the older technology tractors in South Africa specific? Because we have a lot of them and we cannot really buy the newer ones.
Yes, good question. We do sell a lot of retrofit type kits. So the receivers you can put on an older tractor, a display that you can buy. And so a lot of the automation solutions that I talked about, like AutoTrack, the telematics, JD Telelink that I talked about, will be available on older tractors that you can retrofit. And as we move from more of a hardware company to more of a software company to complement the hardware, you'll be able to, even on your older tractors, in a lot of cases, get some of the new software added to your machine. So even in areas where you're not buying the latest and greatest, you can still get some of that new technology through software upgrades.
As jy gehou het van die potgooi, deel dit asseblief met vriende en familie. Of besoek ons webwerf by www.agrisa.co.za.